Hi, I'm Sam Sells, and welcome to my podcast, Clean Money. I'm a serial entrepreneur that has led over 2 billion development projects around the world. But the work I am most proud of is the work we do here at Wild Mountain Capital. We not only create great returns for our socially conscious investors, but we make an impact in the many communities we work in and we change lives. I like to say investing matters, and my show is to talk with everyday folks that are not only creating great success, but making an impact in society and improving the lives of others. That is my mission, and I want to share my stories and others with you. Welcome to Clean Money. All right. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Clean Money, where we talk about how we use our time, resources, and money to make a difference in the world. Today, my guest is Kirsten Schmidtke, who is a sales coach and strategist with equal parts grit, heart, and unstoppable energy, which I will testify is true. From international stage performances to biochemistry majors, generating millions of dollars in sales revenue, Kirsten's journey has been anything but ordinary. And that's exactly what makes her extraordinary as a coach. She's here to guide entrepreneurs and executives toward unapologetic freedom, freedom of time, freedom of money, and the freedom to dream and lead bigger than ever before. A former corporate sales trailblazer who shattered glass ceilings in male-dominated spaces, Kirsten now channels her expertise into helping others achieve their own breakthroughs. Kirsten, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, me too. So that was the written background. Tell us a little bit more about who are you?
Who am I? Oh, well, most people start the conversation with tell us your story, right? Or tell us your background, but who am I?
Yeah.
Oh, that comes with a different answer. I mean, well, I'm a very dynamic and passionate person, I would say, who really believes that we have every opportunity every day to show up as the best version of ourselves with the information what we have the information we have on hand, I guess is what I'm offering, right? And the more that we take the time to understand who we are, the more that we can step into what's possible and really expand. So when I think about who I am someone that's constantly on a journey to
Yeah.
better myself. And I mean, that introduction kind of alluded to where I really focus my energy and my expertise is through sales, is through helping people to really embrace and fall in love with sales for them to expand what's possible as a seller. And, not far from the theme of this podcast, really see selling and generating revenue and generating income and opportunity for not only us to expand our own lives and our own lifestyles, but also those of others, right? When we generate more income for ourselves, we're able to return that back into the economy. We're able to support other businesses, possibly even support people that, maybe don't have opportunities that we have. And so, yes, I really believe I'm a dynamic and passionate person who is constantly working on myself so that I can better serve my clients and my community.
That's incredible. I, as you're speaking, I think about the psychology of money, the psychology of sales. I think about my own, I grew up poor and I used to think salespeople were bad, you know, like it's sales, it's like this icky thing, or you're trying to just give a product to somebody that you don't believe in, it's going to hurt them, and you're just trying to get them to buy it so you can make a buck and move on. Well, that's clearly not what you're doing. You clearly have a different opinion about it. And it comes back to who you are, to that question, like, who are you, and your passion. Can you talk about that psychology just a little bit?
Absolutely. And again, what I loved so much about the question is it's a question that I ask my clients a lot, right? Like we talk about what we want, we talk about goals, we talk about going after what's the tactics, what the tool, what are the things I'm going to be doing, the strategies, right? The skill set. And really, no matter if you're going after a sales goal or not, it really comes back to who we're being, like
Mhm.
who we're becoming, right? Who we are being is actually going to guide us and lead us to the goal or to the outcome. And I think if we look at sales or being a salesperson person, I will offer that when I share that when I started in this in a sales role, I was very hesitant to take the job because I thought the same thing. I thought salespeople tried to give you, a used car that came with a bunch of problems, but like, I don't know, they weren't going to tell you all the details, and I was going to get, a lemon or something and pay full price, right? And so
Yeah.
I felt this sense of distrust, a distrust around sales as well. And I think what I've learned over time is that in any industry and in anything that we're doing, it really does all start with who we are being. And the biggest shift for me, I would say, from spending 12, 13 years as a seller, as an individual contributor in the technology industry to now coaching, is seeing sales as being of service. Like sales being something we do for someone, not something we do to someone.
I
Right?
love
Which is
that. That's great.
yeah, which is often again where that ick comes from, because it's like, oh, if we're selling at or to, or like like it's almost comes with that like harm again, that distrust or that fear, where if I'm selling from a place of service and that I'm here to help. I am here to offer something extraordinary. I'm here to be maybe the expert that you need to unlock the next level of growth. I'm here to be I don't know, the who to your how. You want to know how to scale and grow a sales team, and you know, uh, we meet, or I, jump into your inbox, or you find me on Instagram. Like, I am here to serve. So if we think about sales as being of service, for me that can be a really major mind shift that allows the tactics and tools to work. That allows space for the strategy to be implemented when we can first start to reframe, okay, why do we feel sales is icky? But what is sales actually to us? And who are we being as sellers? Am I being the person that is like trying to force you to buy something? Or am I being the person that really truly believes that what I have to offer can make a difference?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, is that, I think about that, and that's kind of like one of the paradigm shifts it had to be for me was at the end of the day, we're all selling something, right? And we're all communicating something. And if I have something that could help somebody else out, like I have a responsibility to share that thing with them, right? And a good salesperson is not shovey, aggressive, none of those things, right? They're just there to help you fulfill your dreams or your wishes or make your life better. And that is so far from my own like difficult challenge with understanding what sales is all about. So you
Yeah,
coach. Yeah,
yeah.
go
Oh,
ahead.
sorry. I was just gonna add, I always tell people when they get a little bit nervous about a sales call, right, or a sales conversation, I remind them that really it's just building a relationship and coming to an agreement, right? It's
Mhm.
having a conversation to really identify what someone might be struggling with. And like you said, like it would be a disservice not to share that you could help take that pain away, that you could help solve that problem, right? And the agreement may be to work together, and sometimes it may be not to work together. But yes, you have the opportunity in that interaction to possibly just make that person's dreams come true.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great way to look at it. So tell me a little bit now about, so this is who you are, right? You're super passionate and you're helping people out, but how did this all come about? Like who was Kirsten 10 years ago and why are you here? Yeah.
I love that question of who was Kirsten 10 years ago. And again, when we think about who we are being, um, in the world, how we're operating, how we're thinking, how we're acting. Like, you know, I think 10 years ago, I don't know if Kirsten could have even had the thoughts, let alone the
Yeah.
behaviors and actions of me now, but that growth was required and necessary to get me to my next level. Um, 10 years ago, Kirsten was not super aware of, gosh, probably what that I could think differently. I was, so if we, yeah, for what was I doing 10 years ago? I was full on in the corporate world doing my sales thing. You talked a little bit in my intro, but I graduated with a degree in the sciences. I added a business degree, thinking it would just be something that would be practical and useful. And fast forward, I land in technology sales just through a friend, a referral to, you're young at a school and you're like, all right, I want a job. And
Right.
I was really fortunate that I found a really great organization that allowed me to kind of have an instant social network here in the city of Toronto, which is where I'm based. I got to be in a field, or like it sales for me was a great fit because I do have a performance background. And so, speaking and being on stage or in meet, like that kind of really came to me naturally. And so I spent the first part of my career at an organization called Soft Choice and then eventually moved to Amazon Web Services. And it was during my time at Amazon Web Services, or what we call AWS in the industry,
Hmm.
while the pandemic happened. That's really it. About halfway through my tenure there, so about 2.5 years in, the pandemic happened. And, I know I'm not alone in having had a bit of a moment of thinking, okay, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to be doing? Is this how I want to be living? And I hired my first coach. And for a number of reasons, I felt stuck in my career. I felt like I wasn't making progress. But what I think I didn't realize was how much I could take responsibility to do things differently.
Hmm.
How I could take responsibility of my thoughts and as a result, my actions, and then what I was experiencing. I could start to actually experience like happiness, fulfillment, and joy in the work that I was doing. But what happened as a result of that was like this moment of, oh my goodness, if this is what coaching is, because before I actually had been a little skeptical, but if coaching offers this kind of transformation, like that, I could really do something cool here. Like this could be what I was meant to do. And so I started to explore coaching, started coaching myself. And then it was not long after that that I really thought, it's kind of now or never. Like, what am I waiting for to take that bet on myself, and step into entrepreneurship fully and yeah, take the leap of faith. And through some from experience and experimentation as a coach, I kind of found myself going right back to my roots and realizing that sales, the skills, the experience, again, kind of the natural fit for me was a really special gift that combined through coaching or like through the lens of coaching, I could really support people and sellers and entrepreneurs and executives to really experience sales in a different way that was effective, but also fulfilling. Also made that kind of that gap that we find in our sometimes in our work lives. We can help to close that through coaching, not just again tactics, tools, and teaching. So that I guess kind of took you not just 10 years, but I took the 10 years and fast forwarded to now.
Perfect.
But for me, it was Kirsten 10 years ago, didn't know that she could think differently. She didn't think to challenge her own thinking. She didn't know that coaching could help her see what was actually in her way, and that I had all I needed to do was take radical responsibility for my actions and my results if I wanted them to change.
That's amazing. I I laugh. My brother, when I first signed up for a coach, he's like, "Why would you sign up for a coach?" He's like, "You're just going to tell you things you already know." And then I got him to come to an event, and he's like, "This is just like group therapy." And I was like, "Well, did it help?" And he said, "Yes." Super skeptical. I mean, just so skeptical. But like, I think about, you know, blundering into entrepreneurship and DIYing it myself and trying all these things. I made so many dumb mistakes. I didn't even know how to think about things. I didn't know, I just thought it was easy, or hey, you sell stuff, you make a profit, keep your expenses low. Like if it was
Mhm.
that easy, everybody would do it and be fine, right? But it's not that easy. And, for the DIYers listening to this, you're thinking, nah, I got this. Like I'm a Tim the Toolman Taylor, I've got this. nothing possibly could go wrong. But when you were just telling us about your journey, and when you hired a coach, you hired a mentor that could help you, it just changed. It changed who you were, who you were being, who you were becoming. And 10 years later, we get this dynamic powerhouse who I have the pleasure of speaking with, who is changing lives, making a difference, creating immense value in the world, and helping others to create value as well.
Mhm.
So now that you coach, how have you seen your clients change?
How have I seen my clients changes in like in the coaching seat? I think I really live for that moment where clients arrive at the answer that was there all along, but was buried so deep that they didn't realize. I mean, I can give you something that immediately comes to mind as a client. Um, she'd done some work in different organizations, but mainly two in her career, one being smaller, one being larger. And eventually she decided the larger company was just not a fit, so she returned to a smaller organization. And since then, the smaller organization has been acquired by a completely different organization. But she was really stuck in this. I don't know if I can work there. Like once this all goes through, I don't know if I can work there. Like I don't know if I can work there. I don't know if yeah, I'll fit in. I only work for small business. I only do well in small businesses. Small businesses is where, and by the end of the conversation, she realized that that story was what was keeping her like in this stuck, like she didn't know how to operate while this acquisition was going through, and so she was kind of doing nothing. And the problem was she was telling her the story herself, the story that she only operated well in small businesses, that she couldn't actually succeed in a large business. And is that true? No, because she was successful in a large business. She just maybe had a preference that a smaller organization was a better fit for her. But she was stopping herself in her tracks just because of the story she was telling herself, right? So it's so fascinating to guide clients to just get deeper into what is actually stopping you doing the thing or taking the step forward. I think what's really, really fun is when one thing that they experience in a coaching session that they think is for business or they believe is for sales or it's for leadership or professional development, and then they come back to another call and tell me how that has resulted in a shift somewhere else, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I really, got clear on my priorities. So have my calendar built out and I'm committed to doing this thing. And then now, it was actually really fun. I had time for my kids this weekend. When the goal was how do we have less one-on-ones in the calendar during the workday, but all of a sudden we weren't fitting in the fun. There was actually space in the calendar to have fun and spend time with her family without feeling that she had to rush to make it happen or force it to make it work because we created space and really talked about, now I'm kind of getting into principles, but how we are the creators of time. We are the ones that own time. And if we talk about constantly running out of it or not having enough, we actually create that result. And so I always love to see what it's really, really fun, I guess, to witness is when clients experience like what they've worked on or were working on and what they would categorize as their professional life actually starts to have this snowball effect in all areas of their lives. And I mean, it's so true that how we do one thing is how we do everything. And I think that's what makes coaching so powerful is by unlocking that one thing that's in your way, you can actually open up opportunities in a variety of areas in your life.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. So people see a future, they see a reality that they can change, they understand a story that they're telling themselves. So I
Mhm.
know for us, and we talk about stories, right? For our listeners, what do you mean by a story that they tell themselves?
Yeah, great. Great question, and great point of clarification. Because again, when you asked me about who I was 10 years ago, I would not have understood what that meant. You know, what's going on in my head, is that not the truth?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
what I think on a daily basis, is that not reality? Right? What I am repeating to myself over and over again, is that not like firm fact belief? And the truth, the truth is, it's not, right? It's what we have, if you have control over anything, you have control over your thinking. We have, as human beings, we can actually shift and change our thinking in a moment. I think of I think of even I hope this resonates with people. For me, a story I like to tell myself is around not being fit and not being healthy. And yeah, just not doing enough to be active. Um, is that true? Like what is fact and what is fiction? Well, the truth is I go to the gym a couple of days a week. The truth is I had a healthy breakfast and a healthy lunch. And the truth is that I'm booked in for Pilates this week. Like that's the truth. The fiction, right? What I'm making up is that I'm not a healthy person. I'm not, and that only takes me into a negative spiral, but also a story that I've told myself now that I'm not a healthy person. But if I actually become aware of that story and I can shift or reframe it to, oh, I am a healthy person. And this goes back to who you're being, right? Our identity. I am a person that eats well. I am a person that exercises regularly. I am a person that prioritizes nutrition in her meals. All of a sudden, my actions and behaviors are actually going to line up to that. And I also feel a heck of a lot better than going down the spiral of the story that I made up that actually was totally not in alignment with reality or fact. Okay, so it's definitely something that takes some practice to identify. Definitely a coach is like can help you get there faster to understand what stories you might be telling yourself. But if you find that there is a thought on repeat that sends you into a negative thinking, or you feel hopeless, or you feel frustrated, or you kind of find your struggle, check in and find out what you're telling yourself, because thoughts on repeat can actually start to like solidify as beliefs. Like we start to really believe these things about ourselves. And that's when it gets really hard to separate fact from fiction. Is it a story, or is this actually, I said this to myself so many times in my head that I actually now believe it to be true. And so in coaching, a lot of the time we're trying to get to the root of what that belief is, or what that story is we've been telling ourselves. Because often when we can kind of unpack, like peel back the onion, or get to the root of it, that is what's actually keeping us from going after the goal. That's what's keeping us from going after what we want and really living the life, or taking ownership of going after the results that we want to experience.
It's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. When I first heard the term, the story or tell yourself, it took a little while to sink in, and you did a great job of walking that back. It's so amazing. Like we started at the very beginning of this conversation, I said I have this psychology from my childhood thinking that salespeople are icky or gross or something, right? That's a story, right? That story is not true. 100% not true. When I go, you know, buy something, I go to Best Buy, I'm like, which one is the best one? Help me, please. That's what a salesperson is supposed to do. They help you identify, you know what your needs are, you ask, and they help you find the right solution, right? It's a story, right? It's a story. And I, c- through my years now of being coached and mentored and finding, those people who can help me, it's made such a massive difference. And I wish I wouldn't have told myself a story years ago that I don't need a mentor. I don't need somebody to tell me, because I can read a book and I can YouTube University and get all the information I need, and then I can do it perfectly. which is
Yeah. Well, it's kind of reminding me of, I think you said, was it your brother that said, do you need a coach? Or,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
that. And I think what the difference is, I mean, books, like heck yes, podcasts, like what you surround yourself with is like where you're putting energy and attention. So that's what you're going to also experience, right? Well,
yeah,
experience, but also like see more of and really integrate into your life. But if you want to really experience transformation, like the information's great, but the coaching creates that, like that's the transformation, is right. It's like, okay, I have the information, but now I can, like, you're giving me different tools and you're asking me different questions, and I'm getting curious in different ways that's actually allowing me to like in who am I like being like shift inside so that the outside looks different, right? So
mhm,
that the actions on the outside are different and then leading to the outcomes looking different, right? So I totally like Kirsten 10 years ago would not have hired a coach. Same,
right, yeah,
same. Like, right?
yeah,
Where like
nope,
give me information. I love to learn, but transformation, like really experiencing that through coaching is so powerful. And I heard a woman say what I was a panel, and she said that one of the best things she ever did was and she was an entrepreneur, it was to surround herself with people that challenged her thinking, right? People that challenged her to either rethink or think differently. And it's not about being right or wrong. Right. Right there, like, I mean, it, all of this exists between two extremes. Like, there's so many options in between, but just being around people that, yeah, challenge you to think differently. It just can open up so many possibilities for you.
yeah. I think that's coming to recognize the fact that you have closed off most of the doors in your life. You have, right? It's right here. Your brain has closed off most of the opportunities in your life, and you're not willing to even consider them because of a story that you're telling yourself.
Mhm.
And a mentor, a coach, a guide can help you unlock those doors and open them up and see and realize, transform into a beautiful future that and and current reality that you never would have got to before.
Yeah. Well, we also, it's almost, yeah, I was gonna say we want to keep ourselves humble for some reason sometimes, right? And I find that coaches are also willing to like the really great coaches out there are guiding you to a bigger version of your future that you could even imagine for yours. Like they're giving you that almost permission to dream bigger, right? Like I was coaching a client yesterday, and I was saying to her, I was like, okay, but is this like 10x thinking, or are we stuck in like repeat, 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 right? Because if we want big goals, we have to think in a totally different way. And coaching, like a coach helps you to see that, to connect to that versus the playing small or, oh, that's not available or possible for me. Like you said, the opening door metaphor, where all of a sudden, oh my gosh, there's a ton of opportunity out. Like, what opportunity do I want to go after? What possibility is like most in alignment for me? Like for me, because the last thing I'll say on this is it really allowed me to connect and own like the innate ambition that's within me that I felt at one time I had to apologize for, where coaching really allowed me to, yeah, accept and own that. And being ambitious being a great thing to be, and to step into it honestly and authentically, and to like let that help guide me to big, big dreams and big goals.
Yeah, that's incredible. So who is your ideal client? Who do you work best with?
Yeah, so I work with entrepreneurs and executives that are focused on selling I would say high ticket sales. So lots of service-based businesses. I do work with in the sales capacity, primarily B2B, because that's so for people unfamiliar with that term, so selling business to business is really the focus of my work and where I play really well because that's a lot of where my experience is. And I really like to work with clients that they're in a bit of their own transition or transformation in some different stages. So it could be one that you really want to experience more growth in your business, but perhaps you don't know how to do that outside of maybe a really reliable referral mechanism, right? Sales
Mhm.
is for growth. Like if you want to grow, you need to sell. So it's really understanding that strategy, skill set, and I can coach you through that. Then the next level is also building a team and really creating a sales culture and helping to really enable and empower those people to be successful. And I guess the last part would be that sales executive or sales leader, who either is a director or a VP of sales with leaders and a team that they're looking to really elevate, raise the bar. I mean, sales has changed so much, even in the 15 years that I've been involved in how we are talking to people, how we're engaging with people, how we are enrolling them in a vision of what's possible for their organization. And so at a leadership level, I really help to guide them in creating that vision for their team and something that's big enough and bold enough that there's like space for everybody else's goals to fit, so that they're really focused and rallying in like towards a North Star.
Yeah, fantastic. So if someone's listening to this right now and they're thinking, hmm, I might need help with that, Kirsten, what would you say to them?
I might need help with, well, sales. I mean, I would offer that they first think about what their goal is. So if you are, and you may not know what your goal is yet, and that's okay too. But I find when we can connect our desire to the sales piece of it, like that's what it really unlocks. So, for example, if you have a sales goal, is it, to support, maybe you want to build a house, maybe you want to go to vacation, maybe you want
Right.
something else in your life that sales is going to help drive that for you. So I would definitely first suggest that you look at that goal and start to really get clear on that goal. And if you want some support on that, I find that that's a big part actually of the conversations I have with clients is getting clear on their goal or how do I, you know, have a practice around goal setting. If people, you can find me on Instagram at Kirsten Schmidtke and DM me goal, and I will send you. I have a short workshop that outlines a four-part, really easy exercise you can do. I do it every morning. It only takes 5 minutes to really connect you to that goal, connect you to that vision of what's possible, and can just get you into that peak kind of mindset to get going in your day. And if you find you're wanting to get after that goal, and I mean, absolutely, we can always have a conversation too. If sales is something that you're like, I don't even know where to start with this sales conversation. But I do really believe there's such value in understanding where we want to go. Like, what's the destination, right? What's that goal? So, yeah, if people are looking for a bit of support as a starting point, like I said, you can DM me goal on Instagram. I'd be happy to send that over to you, and that might just unlock exactly where it is in your sales skills, strategy, or team, like where you need some support and guidance.
That's incredible. So reach out to you at Kirsten Schmidtke. That's it. Instagram,
That's
right?
it. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
trusting you'll have it in the show notes because a copy paste might be the
might be the way to do
to get
here.
the
Yeah,
spelling right.
I will definitely put that in the show notes. So folks, if you can grab that. And then you're also on LinkedIn as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So LinkedIn, same thing. If you want to send me a DM, I'm actually quite present there as well. Like I said, my clients are entrepreneurs and executives, and so LinkedIn I find is a wonderful place to be having these conversations and connecting with people. Have really loved, kind of loved seeing LinkedIn in embrace content that doesn't have to be perfectly polished and professional too, right?
Yes,
So
yes,
it's
thank
a
you.
great place too. So I'd be happy to meet you there as well.
Fantastic. Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining the show and just bringing all the energy and the passion that you have, Kirsten. It's just fantastic. It's amazing. And I'll make sure that those links are in the notes, and I'll give you and thank you for all the impact you're having in the world, the difference you're making in people's lives. And I'll give you the last words if you'd like them.
Ooh, I thought we were wrapping up there, but I think I just want to offer to everybody like to take it one day at a time, take it one step at a time, check in with those stories you're telling yourself, see how you can maybe just make one small shift in your thinking, and I believe that it could unlock just a whole new world for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to Clean Money, where we talk about sustainable investing that improves society. We are passionate about creating great investment returns to investors who want to use their money to make a positive social impact in the world. If you enjoyed the episode, we'd appreciate a 5-star review. And if you are interested in making your investing matter, please connect with us at wildmountaincapital.com, or you can find me, Samuel Sells, on LinkedIn, on Twitter at Sells_Samuel, on Instagram at Clean Money Sam, or on Facebook. And finally, make your investing matter.